I think it
All
already
right.
is.
Yeah, you're right. Well, someone had something recording, but the recording for the group. So, well, thank you everybody for being here for Tech Thursday. Welcome. I've got a topic today that I think it seems to be pretty top of mind based on the feedback that I was getting from a lot of people in the just in conversations I was having with people, and that is how to set up a Google business profile. So today on our Tech Thursday, and thanks for everybody for being on, hopping on early in the morning. I know schedules are all messed up, especially if you're in the eastern part of North Carolina. Your kids are out of school or all sorts of schedules are off. So thank you for being here and taking the time early this morning. We're going to talk about Google Business Profile today, and just go literally step by step. I'm going to be setting up a new Google business profile for the real estate school Level Up Learning. So I thought it was a perfect time to do that. So this is going to be part one. We're literally just going to go step by step today on getting the process gone, getting through the process to get it started. And then we're going to do part two in 2 weeks. So we have a week in between where we're going to do Canva hacks for next week. And then part two, just to give everybody a chance to get the verification done, which definitely seems to be the biggest stumbling block that people come up with in the Google business profile process, is getting that verification. So we'll give it a couple weeks for everybody to hopefully get verified, and then we'll hop on for part two in a couple of weeks. So to get to that, if you're not familiar with it, it's google.com/business is going to get you to that. You'll need to sign in with your Gmail account. I already have one set up there, so I am going to go to set up a new one there. So this is my one for my real estate. I'm going to set one up for my the school. Let's just change that. Hopefully it's going to get me to sign in that way. If not, I'll have to keep going to another way. All right, so let's go to my profile. Good, here we go. Add a new business profile. All right, so business name. So this needs to be the legal business name for your business. So if it's your real estate business that you're doing it for, you'll need to do something like, Chris Cox Real Estate. I have the firm name and the entity name with mine, so mine had to be my actual entity name. So big part is if you have any entity, it needs to match that. So for this one, mine is going to be Level Up Learning. If this business already exists, it will pop up in here. And this could just mean if you have an already established business, it could show up in there. But for most people, it's not going to be there. So I'm going to go create a business with this name. And then my business category, you can start typing that in, and you're going to see all of the options that can come up for you. So you'll see real estate agent, real estate agency. I'm going to go with real estate school for this one because it is the real estate school. Go ahead and hit next. So that's step one. Now, do you want to add a location customers can visit, like a store or an office? For my case, mine is only virtual, so I'm going to go with this. If you have a physical location, you'll change that to yes. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Where do you serve your customers? So with the service-based business, you can put up to 20 locations in here. I'm going to start with just the one for today, and then you can go back and you can add other ones. So let's just say I'm going to put Raleigh, North Carolina, and then you'll see you can change and add more later. So let me just add one more in here. Now, with this, you realistically want to make sure that you put just places that are within a 2-hour driving radius of your location. They don't want you to be able to service from one location or from one business an area over 2 hours. It's just something that's going to trigger potential flags within the Google system, and they could suspend your Google business profile for that. So you want to make sure that A, they're areas that you actually do service, and B, that they're within that kind of 2-hour driving radius there. So once you've put in, you can either put in all 20 at that time if you have 20 areas that you serve, or you can do them, you can follow up and do them later. So I'm just going to get a couple in there, and then we're going to go ahead and hit next. Now you want to make sure that you enter your contact details when you want to show your phone number on your profile. So I'm going to put my phone number in there. And then if you have a website, I would recommend grabbing the actual URL for it. So we have Level Up Learning here. If you go up to that, and you'll see I've just typed in Level Up Learning here. However, there is more behind that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to drop that into my Google Business Profile website optional there, because you'll see it added the HTTPS with the / there. So even though my website name is Level Up Learning, you want to make sure that you have the HTTPS there as well. From there, I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And it's kind of working behind the scenes, making sure that that I am okay with everything. And I'm going to put in my mailing address. In this case, mine is a unique area. It's kind of on the area line of Holly Springs in Apex. Google Maps sometimes puts it in Apex. And this actually may error out here because of that. And now verified, you can reply to reviews, turn on chat, and more. So you may have, you didn't, so they already had my business verified from my other business profile, but that is usually the step where a lot of people get hung up on there, is that business verification. The next thing you make, it's going to pop up for you, is your business hours. So you do want to make sure with your business hours there that you put in realistic business hours. I know as real estate brokers and agents, we like to say that we're open 24 hours. If you put that you are a 24-hour business on here, it could potentially get flagged in our industry as something. So I would put realistic business hours on here. So go ahead and put, let's just say 7 to 9. Do that same thing. I'm just going to do a couple here. And then hit next. Sheila, you had a question there. I believe you put your hand up.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. I jumped in about 2 minutes late, and I'm only seeing you. Am I supposed to be seeing your screen?
Hopefully you are. Is everybody else seeing my screen?
I'm just seeing you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. So I know, yeah, maybe try signing out and signing back in, or are you on your mobile device or are you on your desktop?
No, I'm on my desktop. I can see you and I can see all the participants, but I'm only seeing you for some reason. So I'm a little behind, but
Gotcha.
I'll try to catch up, because like I said, I got in about 3 or 4 minutes late, and then all I see is
yeah, definitely the screen share there. Maybe signing out and signing back in will help. If not, I also do have the recording of it too that I will be
exactly.
posting.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions there as I'll pause here?
I wanted to add that when you're going to log in, you can access your Google Business page when you're logged into your Gmail account. If you go to the top right corner where the little square with the dots is located, you can select Google Business Profile from there. It's easy to log in that way.
Yeah, so if you're logged into, thank you, Megan. So if you logged into your account, you can see it up here under your little menu button here. All of the options that you have for that profile will be there.
Chris, I have a question for you as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Megan.
So when you put in your URL website address and then you put in mailing address, this is where our team has actually had some issues, because our team has a separate office from our firm address. And so all of our Google profiles that we created a couple years ago actually did not get registered, and we could not keep them because there was some issues with the address. So what address is it that you're putting in for mailing address? Is it my personal home address? Is it my firm's office, my team's office?
So it would depend on, the type of business that you're setting up in there. If you're setting up a physical location one, like a storefront one, which, with the firm address you may be doing, if you're setting up your own like personal service address, you can use your home address for that, like I did for mine. A lot of that depends on what kind of business you're setting up. I know that a lot of people have had challenges in the past when, like, for example, if you're at a larger firm office, and there are 12 people trying to set up a Google
Yes.
business profile at that same address, it's
Yes.
saying, well, there's already other businesses that exist here. So you may have a problem getting the physical address on that, but you should still be able to set up a service type profile and use your home address, because you're just using, for that example, you may just want to use a service area, and that's where your service areas are going to be key. You're probably only going to want one first person with that firm address, like for where the physical storefront for you guys is. You're going to want that one physical address, because Google's going to be all messed up if multiple people try to register a physical business in a building that only has one address.
That was exactly what the issue is. So I
Yep.
think I'll try home address and then maybe it will actually work this time. So thank you.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Chris, a question that's very similar. I had, for many years, Team Schaefer, Keller Williams Preferred Realty, and that
Mhm.
access. So I changed my profile, a couple of years ago. And so
Mhm.
when I go into my profile, it has the correct information. But when I go into Google and, pull up Team Schaefer Business, it's all the old stuff. And when I hit edit your business information, it goes back and shows the correct. So I don't know how
Okay.
to erase that.
And I don't know how to erase that either. I know that for some of that legacy stuff is always going to be there, right? Like there's going to be, if you're looking through, like if I put in my name, it'll say, it'll have articles from we with other firms in there as well. Those are just legacy indexed in there. I don't know how to remove any of those. As far as your profile itself, I don't know. Again, same thing with that. I would say that you might want to, I don't know how you even reach out to Google support, but you might want to submit a support inquiry on that.
Okay, yeah, because everything looks correct. It is
Mhm.
my profile, but it's not, it's incorrect when it shows to the public.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that one's over my head for sure. All right, so then you're going to add your business description. So from the trainings that I've done, this is not anything that ranks your Google profile. However, you do want to make sure that you have some form of description that tells people what your business is and highlight some of your key services. So, I'm just going to put a quick one in here. That I am a North Carolina Real Estate Commission approved education provider, focusing on continuing education, just enough for that. And I'm going to go ahead and hit next there. So this is going to be another way that you can enhance your profile on there is to add photos. And then we're going to more of this on part 2 is the ongoing maintenance of this. But these are where you would put images of, the storefront. You could put images of, at closings, if you're a real estate broker and you want to put like your client, pictures with your clients, listing photos, anything like that you can put in here. And it'll help amplify your profile and rank it better on there. So I'm going to skip it for now. And then this is, if you wanted to get 100% of a profile set up, they would prefer, of course, because it's Google, they would prefer that you actually set up a custom email address specifically for name of the business. I'm going to go ahead and skip that for that. Your edits will be visible once you are verified. So that's kind of where we're gonna end today, and then I'm gonna give you some tips for we're gonna end the process for today. And then I just want to give some tips and tricks on the verification process with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit continue there. So you'll see that that business, once you have it set up, it will show so for only if you're until your profile is verified, you will only, it'll say under here, this is not visible to the public. So as I mentioned earlier, the part where people seem to get messed up the most with the getting your Google business profile set up is the verification process. So some tips for that. There are, most of the time, again, as I said earlier, they're going through, they used to do the postcard, they used to have phone verification. They've gone through pretty much now, neither of those are options. From everybody that I've talked to, they're doing video verification and video verification only now. So with that said, let's talk about some tips to go through that verification process, what I did and what worked for me. And then if anybody has some other tips that they want to share on this, absolutely share as well. So the hardest step is you need to verify your business. And there are 3 things that you have to show on that video in order to get your profile approved. So the number 1 is you need to show your location. So that's the first thing. You need to show your location, and you need to do that so your video needs to be a continuous video. It can't be chunks of video. It has to be one continuous video. The recommendation is 1 to 2 minutes in length. So it doesn't have to be in depth, but what you need to show is your physical location. So if you have a storefront, this could be, standing out in front of the business, and then showing the street sign, the location, the verifying the address. So for what I did to get my real estate business profile approved, I literally walked out. I started the video on the street, showing the street sign that showed that I was at a crossroads of the address. I showed that street, and then I turned. I walked to my house. I showed that my number was there, that the 100 was there. So it was verifying that the address that I put in was the accurate address. If you have a storefront, one of the recommendations that I've seen is to have the door locked and physically take out your key, unlock the door. This shows proof of ownership of that building, that you're not just a consumer walking in there during normal open business hours. So anything you can do to verify the location is number 1. So if you have a business showing that you have, a storefront showing the sign of the business name, that kind of stuff to verify the location. Number 2 is it needs to make sure that you match the category. So if you put that you are a real estate agent, you need to prove that you are in fact a real estate agent. So what I did for my verification is I don't have physical business cards. I'm all digital, but a business card would be a good way to prove that you match that category. So if you have a business card that says, real estate agent or real estate broker, and the name of your name, your photo, those are all going to be things that are going to help. So you may have in your pathway in that video, all of this stuff set up ahead of time. So what I did for mine is I have 3 screens here on my monitor. So I then walked up the stairs into my office. I had on one screen, I had my North Carolina Real Estate Commission pocket card on the screen that showed my legal name and my license number, that showed that I am in fact a real estate broker. That was my proof of that I matched my category. And then on the other screen, because I have my firm license for my name, I had my pocket card for my firm there as well, matching the entity name. And then finally, to prove that I was the owner. So the third thing you need to do is you need to prove that you are the owner of that business. So for my proof of ownership, I had both my IRS EIN number. So I had my employee identification number pulled up, as well as my North Carolina Secretary of State ID record pulled up to show that I was in fact the sole owner and the member of that firm. I had an EIN, and I was also registered with the Secretary of State. And again, all of that stuff was pulled up, so it was one continuous feed. So strong recommendation, especially to keep it in that 1 to 2 minute range. Plan that all out ahead. What are you going to do to prove your ownership? And then the final thing that I had up, I had my website up on the screen in the video. So it showed that I was the, again, it was with me on there. It was the web address, the domain that I had put into my Google business profile. And those were all things. And my profile was verified within 48 hours of getting that done. Now you can do all of those things. and still have it rejected. If you do, it just sometimes is trial and error. I think one of the things that, you know, I didn't have it rejected, so I didn't run into that problem. But what I've heard was just not having all of those stuff all planned out. So that's just some of the tips that I had for that. What other tips does anybody have for that? And it's all done on your phone. So once you get, if you need to verify your profile, there will be a QR code that pops up on your screen. It didn't pop up for me because my address must already be verified in there. So a QR code pops up, you scan that QR code, it goes over to your phone, and then you go through the process, and you literally, like I said, start, like for me, I started outside and went through that process, but I had it all planned out ahead of time. So I wasn't fumbling around, pulling up my firm license. I had all that stuff ready to go on my screen.
I have a question, Chris.
Yeah.
If you don't have an EIN, if you just file jointly like I do, do you have a recommendation of another way to prove that I'm the owner of the business?
I think that your firm license in that case will probably work because you are registering as a like if you're just doing you. If you were to register under your team name, you might have to show something that proves you're on that team, as an example. So like if you did your Google business profile with your core realty advisors on there, you would need to prove some form of being on that team. I would think that may be where you run into it if you tried to register it that way, as opposed to registering it with just you, real estate broker or real estate agent.
What, like if I'm on the Core Realty Advisors webpage, right? Maybe have that pulled up on my computer.
If you have your about,
I'm
if you have your
Core Realty Advisors, and here I am as a team member on the website.
Yep. Yeah, I think anything you can do, there's no like prescription for that, but anything you can do to prove those three things. So those are the three things that they are 100% going to ask you to prove, and you need to verify that.
Thank you.
Liz, yeah, absolutely. Liz, you had your hand up?
Yeah. So for those of us who work from home and have to use our home address to become verified, when our business finally shows on Google, is it going to display our home address, and are we able to hide that, or?
It should not be displaying your home address if you put it in as a service type business, because you're then you're not saying that you serve people at that physical location. That's why that question is important. There was that question, I think it was like the second question, that says, do you serve clients at your location? If you put no, that should trigger it to not put your address on there. Your physical address. Your then focus is going to be your service areas. And Liz, you like me, if you're continuing to serve, that you may run into that same issue where, like, if I were to put in my Wilmington, it could put a trigger on there that's saying, hey, that's more than 2 hours away. That, you might just have to think about where you're putting as your service areas on your Google business profile for that.
Okay, and then I guess a follow-up question that I think ties into what Yvonne was asking. I think my business page is set up right now to where I have a service address because it started out with me at Keller Williams, but I no longer have like a physical address. So we likely need to contact Google Business Support to like basically change our entire profile. It sounds like.
It does sound that way, especially if it's the same, like, go ahead, Yvonne.
Yeah, so I've been listening and playing around, and what I discovered is that my Gmail account, my original Gmail that is tied to my business account, which by the way is not my work one. When I first set it up, it was, my generic one. So I'm going in there and I'm finding that's where all those addresses and everything is. So I'm changing it as I'm listening to you guys. I'll let you know if it probably will kick it out and I'll have to re-verify everything. But it's possible that what you're seeing is they're pulling it from your Gmail account.
Yeah, because that probably follows you along if you use that same one, which is why they ultimately really want you to have a different email address for that. But yeah, I mean, I think that stuff is that internet residue. It always stays out there, right? Like that's always going to be there, and I don't think there's many ways to undo that.
I created
What-
a new Gmail account, like a Gmail business account, just to set this
Just-
profile up. Yeah. just
Awesome. Yeah.
Separate and easy, so it wouldn't get muddy.
Awesome. Well, I have that's what I had for today. I am going to drop in the chat a link to nope, not that. That's not going to work. But I did put together a step-by-step Google Doc for this. I just got to get that back up here. Let's see. We have that pulled back up. So what other questions, thoughts do you guys have? Nothing? All right, well, I'm going to drop this in the chat here. Hopefully you found this beneficial today. So our goal will be in 2 weeks. Everybody who is wanting to set up that profile, it gives them time to go through the verification process. We'll come back in 2 weeks here. Well, next week we have Canva tips. There we go. That's not the one. And we'll be back to kind of go through the steps of supercharging your profile, what you can do to enhance the ranking on that. And yeah, that's what I have for today. Just a couple quick little plugs here. So I do record all of these. I do put them on the YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel for Level Up Learning. If you download that document, there is a link to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, next Wednesday, I will be hosting a 1031 Exchange CE class. So if you're looking for your credit for your elective CE, I will be hosting that on the 29th of January. That is from 9 to 1. And everybody, if you need your CE and you need your elective credit, hopefully we'll see some people on there. I know that we had the new school had our first Gen Up class yesterday. I think it went successful from all the feedback that we received so far. So Diane Florio does a lot of the Gen Up teaching on there. I teach a couple of those, but I focus mainly on the 1031 and writing new content as well. But yeah, that's what I had for today. Any other final thoughts, questions? Did anybody find this beneficial today?
This was very helpful. Thank you so much. And the Gen Up class yesterday was awesome too. So
awesome.
It's a different format than what I'm used to and engaging, and this kept my attention for the 4 hours.
Love that. All right. Well, thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you taking half hour out of your days to start the day, and hopefully see you guys. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye. Thank you.